family. I hope all is well. Sending you all lots of love. Thank y'all so much for your support, your likes, and your shares, and your comments. This, let's just listen to this tape. And it's talking about, I guess, white America, the America they fought for. It's no more. This is a different America. And I believe it's scaring the white people. Here we go.
I am so upset that the things we did and the things we fought for and the boys that died for it, it's all gone down the drain. Our country gone to hell in a handbasket. We haven't got the country we had when I was raised. Not at all. Nobody will have the fun I had. Nobody will have the opportunity I had. It's just not the same. That's not what I want. That's not what they died for. This is not it. Just takes me time to get over it. Why me sitting here like this?
Watch this clip.
How much longer can Iran sustain the closure of the Strait of Hormuz?
Indefinitely.
Because it harms your economy too, doesn't it?
For us, it is a fight for survival. For you, it is a fight to sustain the Epstein class and ethno-supremacism in Palestine.
Why do you keep bringing up? Why do you bring up Jeffrey Epstein in this context? What's the logical leap there?
It's very clear. It's very clear what class of people are in charge in your countries. That class of people are the people who have control. They're the ones who own the media. They're the ones who control the government. They're the ones who start unprovoked wars time after time. This is not the first war that you've imposed upon this region, or Iran for that matter. And we just saw yesterday a key American anti-terrorist official resign, saying the truth that we all knew, but you tried to hide. And that is, Iran was no threat to the United States, and that this war was carried out because of the Israeli regime and its powerful lobby. So what I'm saying is basically what he is saying. That powerful lobby is Epstein.
I have to admit that there's not a single word that he said that I disagree with. He's spot on. He always calls it for what it is.
You do realize that if Israel were bigger and they had the manpower and the weaponry that we have, they would bomb us. There is no honor among thieves. That man said he was waiting for 40 years. He couldn't wait for the right president to say, sure, I'll do it. So he waited for the one who has a brain that's turning into Swiss cheese. And if the truth be told, he would trick the red button from up underneath Trump's hand and push it himself. If y'all think Israel cares about the U.S., no, they only care about what the U.S. can give them. And that's evident by all the things that they've been able to obtain through American dollars. Trump's ego is so big, he fell for the okie doke. When the predator turns into prey. I'm telling you, the scorpion and the frog, Trump's back is getting lit up.
This probably since Hitler. You are looking at videos of Iranian people cheering and celebrating and crying because of what Trump did this past weekend, and you feel anything other than excitement and happiness for them and pride for our country, you should be ashamed of yourself. So God bless America. God bless Donald Trump. God bless Iran. And if you're a Democrat who thinks that what we did was wrong, you need to touch some grass because you have no clue about what's going on in the world.
Hi, Lilo. I could beat you in a debate on literally any topic in the world. Even if I had never heard of the topic, you could give me 5 minutes of Googling and I would still win. I have no clue where you get your confidence from. So now if we are against regime change wars like you guys were 5 minutes ago, that means we are anti-American, siding with dictators, we need to touch grass, and we should be ashamed of ourselves. Cool. Okay, Lilo, why don't you tell all that to your favorite martyr? Charlie, take it away.
We are just going to take out the Ayatollah. Oh, really? What comes after regime change? We have seen this play before. Yeah, the Ayatollah is awful, but maybe he's one of the few guys that can keep that country together. Take out the Ayatollah. Resist that temptation. This is more Israel pushing for Iran, but is that America's problem?
All right, Lilo, go ahead. Tell Charlie that he needs to touch grass, that he doesn't know about the world, and he needs to be ashamed of himself for siding with a dictator. Go ahead. Oh, you're not going to do that? Yeah, that's what I thought. In fact, you're not even going to respond to this video because that would not go well for you. Right, Lilo? Okay. Run along now. Till next time. Good luck.
Donald Trump just gave terrorists the single best recruiting message they could have ever hoped for. One could even say it's at levels that no one has ever even seen before. Because what do you think happens when you threaten to obliterate an entire civilization and you put that on social media? I need to remind you that these are not just the words of a deranged lunatic. This is a deranged lunatic who has the nuclear codes. I can't emphasize to you enough how dangerous this message is, not just for the people of Iran, because who the hell knows what's going to happen to them after the president of the United States says this, but also for the people of the United States for generations to come. This is not scaring radicals into submission. This is breeding terrorists and anti-American hate that is not going to go away when he leaves office. A lot of terrorist networks form in direct response to colonial messaging or actions, and threatening to obliterate an entire civilization is exactly the kind of fuel that they need to breed exponentially.
The United States will no longer be a global leader. The United States' position as being the number one country on the globe is gone. It's gone. The allies that we had, the relationships that we built, the power that we brought through humanitarian aid, through advancements, through military without fucking bombing countries for no fucking reason, through diplomacy, through currency, through finances, through innovation, through investments. We are no longer the world leaders. We're done. Denmark's prime minister came out today and was like, there's a new world leader. It's never going back. The Strait of Hormuz, we will never have access to that again without paying outrageous fines to get through. We're not going to go over there and bomb that shit and just fucking take it. It's not going to happen. Why aren't we at Clark Island yet? How come we haven't done that yet? Russia and China and other countries are now rising to that position because Iran and China are allies. And they're going to start selling the oil, and they are selling that shit in Chinese currency, and other countries are paying for it, whatever, in Chinese currency. We fucked with Canada, Denmark. You know, we're going to go to Cuba. We're going to go fuck up Cuba. Okay, I'll be damned if he doesn't try to pull us out of NATO or get Russia to go do some dumb shit in NATO. The world order that we know, where the United States is the number one global power on this globe, is done. We're done. It's over. But this man was going to make us the most powerful country in the nation, more powerful than we already were, because Pete Hegseth thinks that power is killing children and college students and civilians and bombing them back to the Stone Age, because that's where we are in 2026, is just killing people. And pretty soon, they're going to start cashing in on their bonds. They're going to sink the United States by telling us, we're done paying for your shit. Pay us what you owe us. You voted for this, MAGA. You did this.
Let's recap on how we got here and what's actually going on. First off, Obama had a deal with Iran. It was a non-proliferation treaty where they weren't going to produce nukes. They were only going to produce, I think it was like 3.5% enriched uranium. Part of that deal, we gave them $1.7 billion as part of a dispute over a arms treaty that had went awry in the 70s. Basically, we gave them their money back. So for a whopping total of $1.7 billion, Iran agreed to release the prisoners and to not create nuclear weapons. Trump comes along and says he doesn't like that deal, and so he rips it up. Now, mind you, Obama did this in 2015, right? It had already been on the books for a while. Trump's term, he comes in, he rips it up. Doesn't want anything to do with it. We had no idea why he did this My suspicion is that Netanyahu told him to, but that's just my personal feeling on that, and I can't verify that, so I'll leave that alone. So Trump's second term comes around, and he says, hey, you guys aren't letting inspectors in, we don't know where you're at, tell us what's going on. And Iran says, fuck you. That's what Iran says. You tore up the deal, we don't have a treaty anymore, why should we let you into our facilities, why should we let you do anything? So Trump gets mad, and he bombs them. But he gave them 2 weeks warning in advance before he bombed them. So even if they had nuclear capabilities, they had, well, opportunity to move it. But that didn't stop Trump from claiming he took it by total obliteration of their nuclear program. But they want to do another deal. Said, all right, that's fine, let's do this. So Iran sits down, EU folks are there, and they're negotiating on what they're going to be allowed to do and not allowed to do. Instead of like 3% enrichment, they decide they're going to go with 1.5% enrichment. They're going to allow inspectors in, and they're going to let a third party handle all their nuclear material. While they are at the negotiating table, Trump attacks them again. Why? Don't know. Again, I'm going to guess Netanyahu, but it has to do with the total incompetence of Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump. They have no idea what the fuck they're doing. In our first wave of attack, we end up killing over 100 young girls because we blew up a girls' school. That should have been the end of all of this, and it wasn't. In return, Iran retaliates and says, fuck you, we're not negotiating, we're not anything, you can fuck off, Donald Trump. Iran starts to put the hurt on the global economy, blocking the Strait of Hormuz, smoking American installations across the entire area, and royally showing Donald Trump he has no idea what the fuck he's doing or what he's talking about. They gave him the big F you. Trump now wants to make a deal because gas prices are going sky high, food costs are going to go up, and he knows it's going to cost him the midterm election. So he's trying to cut a deal with Iran. Iran still says, fuck you, we don't trust you. Every time we've tried to talk to you, you've attacked us, so fuck off. Trump and Hegseth bit off a bigger piece than they could fucking chew. Everybody else knew it, they didn't. They said they didn't. That leads to the idea that they're just totally incompetent. Now, the orange turd is threatening to commit war crimes against Iran if they don't come to the table and work out a deal. And we're sending in ground troops on top of it. So now our American service members are going to be slaughtered because Trump is an incompetent piece of shit. So that $1.7 billion that Obama gave Iran was their money to start with. But even if it wasn't, it was still far cheaper than what is happening right now. We're spending almost $1 billion a day or some shit like that.
What?
So out of the two, who got a better deal for the American people? Obama or Trump? So Trump and Hegseth can fuck right off. And I truly hope they acquiesce before more American service members die. And to be very clear, I'm not mad at Iran. Not one bit. They're literally just defending themselves.
And then he has this cabbage, Pete. Pete is literally just there repeating what his master is saying, but in a different tone.
The Iranians are still asking themselves right now, how did the Americans do this? One downed airman evaded capture for more than a day, scaling rugged ridges while hunted by the enemy. When he was finally able to activate his emergency transponder, his first message was simple and it was powerful. He sent a message, God is good. You see, shot down on a Friday, Good Friday, hidden in a cave, a crevice, all of Saturday, and rescued on Sunday. Flown out of Iran as the sun was rising on Easter Sunday. A pilot reborn, all home and accounted for, a nation rejoicing.
I don't think they rescued that second pilot, and let me explain why. This is not the ramblings of somebody who just had a successful mission. This is the ramblings of a propaganda artist who's trying to get all of the right-wing Christians to be like, yeah, we did good, and it's thanks to God.
One downed airman evaded capture for more than a day, scaling rugged ridges while hunted by the enemy. When he was finally able to activate his emergency transponder, his first message was simple and it was powerful. He sent a message, God is good. In that moment of isolation and danger, his faith and fighting spirit shone through. You see, shot down on a Friday, Good Friday, hidden in a cave, a crevice, all of Saturday, and rescued on Sunday. Flown out of Iran as the sun was rising on Easter Sunday. A pilot reborn, all home and accounted for, a nation rejoicing. God is good.
And if you believe any of that, I have an entire vat of holy water to sell you that was given to me by Jesus and Moses themselves. I promise, it's all legit, and I have just as much proof of that claim as he offers for his claim.
The entire country can be taken out in one night, and that night might be tomorrow night.
This is the same man that said that he will save the Iranian people from the Islamic regime. Let me remind you that Iran population is about 90 million people. The only way that Trump can wipe out the entire country, Iran, is with nuke. He's not going to do that because he knows that he will get in serious trouble. And by the way, attacking civilian structure, network, power plant is a war crime under the law of the International Criminal Court. Remember that.
So my theory yesterday was that this was a botched uranium extraction operation, and that seems to be the case, as we got pictures of passports from an Israeli citizen. I was an Israel arms contractor on a mission to rescue an American pilot on a hillside. They're not a pilot, which would lend credence to the idea of there being a forward operating base. We also know exactly why they kept a lid on this guy all weekend, because in his press conference, he said they sent hundreds of people, along with multiple aircraft, as we know, to do a rescue operation. That doesn't happen. This doesn't make any sense because there's many stories of American soldiers getting left behind by their government. The government doesn't give a fuck about you. So despite the government's best attempts, and let's be honest, it's not their best attempt because they didn't do a really good job with it, it's very clear that this was a botched uranium extraction operation. And this lines up with what I talked about yesterday with, a soldier can't travel more than 100 miles in 24 hours on foot with a sprained ankle. That's not happening. They found another person's driver's license and USAA credit card there, by the way. I saw that earlier too, which I thought was an interesting touch. Your USAA membership will not stop you from the reality that the US military is a paper tiger.
The Iranians are still asking themselves right now, how did the Americans do this? One downed airman evaded capture for more than a day, scaling rugged ridges while hunted by the enemy. When he was finally able to activate his emergency transponder, his first message was simple, and it was powerful. He sent a message, God is good. In that moment of isolation and danger, his faith and...
You just heard it there.
And Pete, the DUI hire, asked the military to draw up plans to steal Iran's uranium. The military drafts a plan that involves over 100 special operations personnel, flying in large aircrafts and building makeshift runways, a whole thing, right? But top military brass tell the Orange Clown and Pete that this operation cannot happen because it is way too dangerous and way too risky for the troops. The operation plans then get leaked to the media to hopefully alarm the American public and stop this operation from happening. All of a sudden, Pete fires over a dozen senior military leaders. What? A few days later, there is a catastrophic loss of U.S. aircraft deep inside Iran, right near a makeshift runway built by U.S. forces, right near a city called Isfahan, which is the site of the Isfahan Nuclear Technology Center, Iran's largest nuclear research complex. Wow, that's so weird. This was not a success story. This was a horrifically botched and badly planned military operation that happened because two psychopaths don't like to hear the word no. Oh, sorry, three psychopaths, if you count Mr. Netanyahu, the one who most certainly gave the orders. Because here's something you might have forgotten. Back in September 2024, Is Not Real Special Forces conducted an almost identical operation in Syria. Their goal was this underground facility deep in the Masyaf Mountains, 70 meters deep. This facility was built to produce precision missiles for a little group called Hezbollah. You know what I'm talking about? So here was the plan. About 120 elite special forces landed by helicopter and then moved by foot. They infiltrated the facility, seized all the intel and equipment, and then they destroyed it. All in all, it lasted about 3 hours. The raid was also supported by airstrikes, which means you needed a lot of heavy aircraft. I mean, doesn't this sound like almost the exact same thing that Pete attempted? Clearly they were sold a success story and told this is going to be easy as pie. We already did it. But it was an embarrassing failure, just like everything else the Orange Clown has ever attempted to do in his entire life. Only this time it's not just his daddy's money that he's losing. It's American lives and somewhere around $4 billion of taxpayer-funded military equipment. But tell me again how eggs were too expensive.
From U.S. Navy veteran to the state of Israel, thank you guys so much for your critical help in locating the U.S. airman. He's a colonel, the navigator that was behind enemy lines for almost 2 straight days. It was your guys' efforts in pinpointing the exact location of where he was. And congratulations to the U.S. military for having such a successful mission to make sure you get this brother back home where he belongs. For those that don't know, it was IDF special units that actually helped pinpoint the exact location of where this airman was, helped with disinformation campaigns to throw the Iranians, they're sent off. They also did specific and strategic air campaigns in specific parts of Iran. All of this was very much critical in locating and giving the space for the U.S. military, who's the best in the world, to do exactly what they were trained to do. And now our brother is home, and it's absolutely incredible. And the fact that we have complete air superiority over Iran, that we could do this mission with minimal danger. Of course, it's war, danger exists, and it's not like Iran has literally nothing, but the air superiority is obviously there, and it's absolutely incredible. Congratulations to President Donald Trump, and I'm going to continue, unlike a lot of these Americans who are cheering on the IRGC. I'm not talking about people who are against war. I'm talking about those that are cheering on the IRGC or cheering against the U.S. military and the U.S. government and the United States of America as a country. I'm going to continue to stand behind my president. I'm going to continue to stand behind my country. I'm going to continue to stand behind our U.S. troops.
So on April 3rd, the U.S. was out here running airstrikes on Iran because, yes, we are in an active war with Iran. And one of our F-15E fighter jets got shot down over Isfahan. Both crew members eject, and the pilot is found pretty quickly. But the second guy, a colonel, who is the weapons system officer, he's just gone. Somewhere in the Zagros Mountains, injured, hiding out, because they're looking for him. So now it's a race because Iran doesn't know where he is, but they want him. So much so that they told all nearby civilians to look out for him and then would be rewarded with a $60,000 reward. $60,000 reward to the locals if they are to find this man and turn him in. So $60,000 reward was all they had to say, and now we got villagers forming search parties looking for this man, and we got the IRGC, I want to make sure I said that right, the IRGC soldiers everywhere. Meanwhile, the U.S. is in full panic mode because they don't know where this man at either, and they know that Iran forces are looking for him. So the CIA launches a disinformation campaign where they're sending out messages that the man's already been found and moved across the ground somewhere he's safe. Just out there lying, acting like the man been found so that it will discourage the Iranian forces and villagers forming these search parties to continue to look for the man. Meanwhile, they're using unique capabilities to actually locate this man. They end up finding him in a mountain crevice with a sprained ankle, and he'd been hiding out for 24 hours. So now the U.S. sends about 100 special operations forces staging outside of an abandoned airstrip about 14 miles outside Shareza in Isfahan. So they extract him, and then 2 MC-130 transport planes malfunction, and the U.S. blows them up on Iranian soil. But Iran straight up said that that was a lie. Their joint spokesperson for military command said that they did not blow those planes up because of malfunction. They said that the U.S. destroyed its own aircraft and personnel to prevent embarrassment for Donald Trump and the hollow image of its military. So what he's basically saying is that those planes were not blown up by the U.S. They were downed by Iranian forces, and to save ourselves from embarrassment, the United States would rather say, you know what, we had to blow them up because they were acting up. They were acting up. They were malfunctioning. We just blew them up. No big deal, because they did not want to see the amount of damage that's being created by Iranian forces. Then Iran's foreign ministry takes it one step further and says that the whole operation may have been a cover-up, a cover to steal enriched uranium from Isfahan. That's not some random tweet. That's not some rumor. That's coming from the Iranian government themselves, a direct statement. So now we got three competing different narratives, three different stories. We have the first one where, oh, it's a heroic mission. Oh, the pilot got down, we saved him, hurrah, hurrah. Oh, and our rescue planes, the transport planes, they malfunctioned, we blew them up, nothing to see here. And you got the second story, which is Iran actually destroyed these transport planes and blew them up. And rather than have the world see that, they would rather hide the evidence. The U.S. would rather hide the evidence. That's story number 2. Then you got story number 3, that the mission was never even about the pilot. It was entirely about stealing Isfahan's uranium. And all of this happened 14 miles away from Iran's nuclear facility. One of them anyway. So I don't know, y'all. We got 3 different narratives being told. And honestly, I'm subject to believe Iran before I'm going to believe our government, because we already know they lie. So which one y'all think is the truth?
We don't know. We don't know. This is so important to understand. We don't know. We don't know what really happened in Iran in the last 48 hours. We don't really know. We know that congressional and gubernatorial Republicans are sending out AI photos of a pilot, which is to say disinformation, propaganda, fake photo. It's a fake photo. Why are they sending out a fake photo and not the real photo? Well, we don't know. Why, right before this operation took place, did Hegseth fire almost a dozen top military commanders who presumably could have offered resistance to a potential plan? I'm sure they wouldn't have resisted a rescue plan. Maybe they would have, probably not. Why were they let go? Then what happened? I do know this. Donald Trump says it was a colonel who was rescued. Well, to become a colonel in the United States military takes some time. It's a big achievement. You're probably 45 to 55 years old. It's a little odd that a colonel was in the plane in the first place, unless it was part of a broader mission. There's a question. Also, that means a 50-year-old man landed somewhere in Iran and in 48 hours went 110 miles through high altitude, desert, rocky, mountainous terrain in an unknown place. That means going at a relatively quick speed all night. Is it possible? I suppose. It's right at the limit of what would be physically possible for a 50-year-old, no matter how good of shape you are in, but certainly possible. We do know that 2 planes and some helicopters were lost, maybe shot at and disabled, so we blew them up, maybe stuck. We don't know. We also don't know Donald Trump's tax returns, which he promised to give in 2016. We don't know what happened at the beginning of COVID when Donald Trump said it'd be no big deal. I bring those up to point out.
Family, this almost sounds theatrical, as if it was at the movies, or I don't know, who does this benefit? And what are we gaslighting? What are we distracting? What are we trying? Why is all this happening? And it's almost like, what is really going on? And what we're being shown. It's like look over here, here's the shiny object. Here's the shiny little bell, while over here it's crickets, because nobody's paying attention, nobody's talking about it. So I think everyone just want to know what's going on.
Obvious. We never know what's actually going on, which is the opposite of a transparent government, which is the foundational principle of an authoritarian government, to keep us in the dark. We have no idea still what happened this last weekend.
Happy Easter Sunday, everyone. Shout out to those commandos who rescued that airman yesterday. That's pretty legit. I even just read that the CIA misled the Iranian forces to enable Navy SEALs to extract them. Now, you might call me a nerd, but I wish I could see the planning and logistics sustainment of it all. Like, are they using PowerPoint a lot? Like, what are they actually doing? They're definitely doing rehearsals and multiple COAs. Anyways, have a great day.
People, let's talk about the U.S. rescue mission, right? That took place Saturday, breaking Sunday, around about, right? President Donald Trump took to his Truth Social and said that the crew member was rescued. But what he did not tell you is what the United States lost in the attempt to rescue. And by the way, we still don't really know if he was truly rescued or not, because you already know how they are so deep into propaganda. So as to whether the serviceman was truly rescued or not, until we see pictures and footage of him, it still remains questionable. That's the first thing. The second thing I wanted to talk about, they are telling us about rescue mission went successful. What they did not tell us is the amount of aircraft, helicopters, and others that were lost again in the attempt to rescue the serviceman. Let's go through the list of equipment that were lost on Saturday. In this attempt to rescue this serviceman, they lost another F-15 jet. They lost an A-10 Warthog. They lost two C-130. They equally lost two MH-6 helicopters. They equally lost two UH-60 Black Hawk. And they also lost another F-16 fighter jet. Just look at the amount of aircraft, of equipment that they lost in one day trying to rescue a serviceman. And by the way, as I said, I'm still not certain.
Family, I'm going to end it here. Like, share, and subscribe. I'm on TikTok at Cozy60, COOZY. And I'm on YouTube at Cozy, COZY News at Poopadoo 1760. Thank you all again for your support. Love y'all. Bye.